that Cunha's arrival could throw into doubt the futures of some of United's other forwards. Alejandro Garnacho is one of them. Does he have a future at Old Trafford?
It certainly feels like the noise is coming out through social media and from the player. It feels like his days at Old Trafford are numbered. Of course, the club's position will be the same. We don't want to sell any of our superstars. And at 20 years old, and someone that could be hugely influential for many years to come, they're not going to want to let him go for cheap. However, he would be one of those players that represents 100% profit on PSR. So therefore, if Manchester United are looking to rebuild, Garnacho's name could be in that circle of players. They think, well, actually, that could maximise income for us, which would allow us to invest in other areas of the squad. I think there's a couple of interesting things we saw on Instagram from Alejandro Garnacho, a rather cryptic message. You can take what you want, of course. Manchester United finished the season and then went out to the Far East to play some money-driving games. And he said, finally, obviously on an airport runway there, with a crying emoji, a praying emoji, and then a palm beach emoji. Finally, he's getting his opportunity. Finally, his season's coming to an end.
Is he saying there that finally we're back from this pre-season tour and I didn't want to go on it? Is that why it's controversial? Because he's...
Maybe.
And that's stepping out of line, because obviously if you're a Manchester United player, United are paying you, and if you are going on a post-season tour, that's what you have to do. And just be quiet and do what you're supposed to do. You play and don't get on social media, posting those kind of comments.
Yeah.
We were actually trying to work out whether that was a prayer emoji or a high five. It is a prayer emoji, isn't it?
I think so.
If it's a high five one, you could argue this was a great trip.
Yeah, great trip.
High five.
High five, yeah. Who knows? We love reading into social media. No question that his future will be a big talking point over the course of the next 10 days, possibly even into the rest of the summer. But what would Manchester United potentially lose in Garnacho? Someone that's been absolutely electric at times, but Manchester United fans will probably say we haven't seen enough of the Garnacho we know he can be. Look at these, and I think this is quite interesting as well, because he's in good company. Most goal involvements of current under-21 players. Important to remember, he's only 20 years old because he's been around for a few years. You think he's older than that. But Lamine Yamal at the top of that list, 35 goals and assists. This is obviously in Europe's top 5 leagues across all competitions. Doué, superstar for PSG, as we saw last night. Garnacho, third on the list there, with 21 goals and assists. And you can see some of the other names there, big young stars of the future. So he's got a value. He's an asset for Manchester United.
He's an asset as well, because if they sell him, they can bank all the money as profit for PSR, because he counts as being having come through their academy, even though they bought him.
And someone else, Kobbie, who's come through the academy, we'll come to him in a moment, is Marcus Rashford. He will count as pure profit as well if they were to sell him. Is it a case of when and not if he is finally out of Manchester United?
I think it's almost certain that he's not going to play for Manchester United again, and he'll be sold. He would obviously like to move to a club like Barcelona, but the window is open for a long time now, another 90 days. So I think he's got time to find another club. Just going back to Garnacho, though, if I was Garnacho, I would be looking at these players like Sancho, like Anthony, like Marcus Rashford, and thinking there is life after Manchester United. These players, some of them went on and played in the Champions League last season, played in European finals, and the kind of clubs who are after Garnacho are Champions League clubs. Chelsea being the Champions League, he could be playing for them. Napoli, Champions League, Club World Cup, Champions of Italy, he could be playing for them. I think Alejandro Garnacho is a fantastic player, but we've seen in recent times some very talented players have struggled to develop at Manchester United for whatever reason. And I'm sure if he leaves United, he will go on to great things, perhaps in the same way as Scott McTominay, for instance, or Rashford. We saw what he could do at Aston Villa. It's just sad that it's going to end probably the way it has ended for him. at United, and obviously he stepped out of line a few times and upset the management there and Rúben Amorim. But he's a young player. You know, sometimes young players make mistakes.
Just very quickly, Mark, lots of other players, it seems, could have their futures up in the air at Old Trafford as well.
Well, every player has its price. And ultimately, as we've already discussed on the show earlier on, you know, Manchester United are in a position where they need to make sure that they're sustainable financially. And the rebuild that they want to do this summer, they have to fund it somehow, because Sir Jim Ratcliffe has made it quite clear there isn't an endless pot of money at Old Trafford. They are going to have to be clever. They're going to have to be astute. I know Kobbie's mentioned the likes of Antony, obviously a huge investment for him, 100 million euros. You know, what will they claw back from him being away at Real Betis if they were to sell him? Marcus Rashford, Garnacho, Sancho, Kobbie, Mainoo. There are young players there. There are players that they want to shift off the wage bill as well. Some of the high earners, the likes of Casemiro and so on and so forth. So I think Manchester United are, without question, a club to watch to see what they can do. And they will try and financially navigate their way through this window to put themselves in the best possible position. And that might mean selling some of these young big stars.
Kobbie, another club to watch.
What's going to be left at Manchester United?
Sorry?
What's going to be left? I mean, he's going through all these, you know, the players who could be leaving, and, I mean, I suppose there's Cunha.
Well, I suppose you could argue Rúben Amorim wants to bring in the players that are going to fit into his style and his formation, and he probably has been there.
What happens if that doesn't work?
Well, let's cross that bridge.
That's football, as they say.
I guess it doesn't help Manchester United that...
Statement signing for United, because most people, one, would be saying, if you're not a United fan, why does he want to go to Manchester United? He's a great player. United are not in the Champions League. They're not in Europe at all. Surely he wants to move to a club who are in the Champions League. But that's not the case, because Matheus Cunha thinks United are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. He loves Manchester United, and he is delighted that he's got this move. And United, where they're getting the money, people are saying, hey, I thought their co-owner said they've got no money. They were going to run out of cash. Where's this money coming from? Well, United are still a massive cash-generating, revenue-generating machine. OK, their recruitment has been very poor recently, but they still turn over a lot of money. And this transfer fee is being paid in 3 instalments. And also there are lots of players who they may sell this summer as well to balance the books. So a good deal for Manchester United on paper, a good deal for Cunha. He's got his dream move. Also a very good deal for Wolves, because they were very smart. They protected their position. They made sure that if something like this happened, there wouldn't be a saga. We wouldn't have twists and tails and the player going on strike and multiple bids coming in and being rejected. Manchester United knew what they had to do to get him. They did it, and they did it quickly. It's out of the way now. Wolves can now start planning for next season and use some of this money to maybe strengthen their squad and help their head coach, Vitor Pereira, who did such a fantastic job when he came in last season, build on what he did last season.
I think we could see a lot of these release clauses. They are in place for various players. Dean Howson, Bournemouth, Real Madrid, simple. Delap to Chelsea, simple.
It's going to do us out of a job. There's going to be no transfer sagas anymore.
But it's all in black and white there, and it stops the saga, which so many transfers can become. And therefore, if the players are happy on the players' side and the representatives, the clubs think, well, actually, we're happy with that deal. We sold him for that price, we'd be happy. It makes everything so much more smooth. And I think you'll see a lot more of that in Premier League deals moving forward.
Mark, Kobbie mentioned the fact...
Manchester United star Alejandro Garnacho is targeting a £50 million move to Chelsea this summer, despite interest from Napoli, reports claim. The Argentine forwards looks certain to leave Old Trafford after falling out with Rúben Amorim, who is said to have told the player to find a new club. Garnacho was benched by Amorim for the team's 1-0 Europa League final defeat to Tottenham and left out entirely for their final day of the season clash against Aston Villa. His manager reportedly told him, "You better pray that you can find a club to sign you." The 20-year-old was forced to take part in the club's post-season tour to Asia despite being expected to depart, and made it clear he was happy to return. after posting a picture of the airport runway with the caption, "Finally." Now Garnacho will be ramping up plans to leave United, and Stamford Bridge is his number one choice, according to The Sun. The Blues were linked with the player in January, with his agents even being spotted in the stands at a Chelsea game. A source told the outlet he wants to stay in England, saying, "Alejandro knows the Premier League is the best in the world. And while he has had some good moments at United, he wants to establish himself as a world star. England is the best place to do that, and Chelsea have assembled a lot of good young players. After the defeat, our season was S***. We didn't beat anyone in the league. We lacked a lot of things. When you don't score goals, you always need more. Until we reached the final, I played every round. And I played 20 minutes today. I don't know. I'm going to try to enjoy the summer and see what happens next." His brother Roberto also joined him in hitting out at Amorim, accusing the Portuguese coach of throwing him under the bus. He said, "Working as no one else, helping every round, coming from 2 goals in the last 2 finals, just to be on the pitch for 19 minutes and get thrown under the bus. It is